Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Some more time left for lunch. We are between you and your lunch. We have three choices. One, either we have you for lunch or you have us for lunch. Third is, together we can create space for lunch with some intellectual discussions. Sounds better? Yeah. Lovely. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sapphire, for getting both of us together. We met for the first time today. Great meeting, Richard. I love what he has done and then what he is doing right now. And when the Sapphire team called us that we need to have some discussions around empowering the workforce, training and development and engagement, after listening to the star-studded panel discussion of the industry leaders here, I have definitely butterflies in my stomach. I don't know about Richard actually, so. Because of hunger. So, how we want to do is, we will have only 10 minutes discussions and remaining 10 minutes for our question answers. If there are no questions, we can have early lunch. Yeah? So let's begin. Richard, why don't you, because Richard is my senior colleague and I really like his work, what he has done. Can you just give us a sense of what is the work environment in today's world that an ideal organization should have to be able to create that empowering environment, Richard?
So thanks so much, and folks, special thanks for listening to us, especially a few minutes into lunch. So what we are seeing, and largely all of you would be seeing in your workspaces, that people keep talking about empowerment, and that's a word which probably, when we don't know what to bring at many of our meetings, we talk about empowerment. But fundamentally, let's look at the concept of what all of us want. We want to do good work in a place where we like working with other people, and somewhere we are engaged, we learn a lot, and we can carry on our learning. So that's what many of us ask, and companies struggle to do something as simple as this. Now let's focus, because the topic largely was meant to be on learning and that area, so I will bring an example from the learning space itself. So one of the challenges which all of us facing, and I think the earlier panel also alluded to, is that whether automation and developments in technology will take away jobs. Now, to counter that, each one of us would like to skill ourselves, because none of us would want to be redundant at no matter which position you would be in your work journey. But how do you skill yourself? It's easier said than done, right? So we could always surf on the internet and we could figure out what to do. But if an organization enables the ability to learn or the ability to skill, that makes one portion of our reason why we go to work very different. So one of the things which I'm talking about an example from the previous organization I worked at, that's Infosys. We realized that if you enable learning on a technology platform which all of us carry, that is our cell phone, the learning goes that much manifold higher. And if the learning platform is enabled by AI or by analytics, in the sense that it sends you learning packets which are more suited to your profile. That means it's similar to what Netflix does, nothing different from that. The learning value is that much more. So on an average, without any force from anyone, we found that people are spending around 45 minutes every day learning. And they were doing this when they commute to work. And Bangalore, we are very lucky in the sense all of us enjoy long commutes. These are the things organizations can add value to their people without impacting productivity or impacting anything else, thereby bringing that much more engagement into what people do. This is just one example from the learning world. But if you take many other developments, if you parallelly connect the developments in technology to the needs of the workforce, the whole process of empowering people to do their best at work goes that much better. So these are a few thoughts I had to share, but of course I am sure you will have much more to add from your experience, so feel free to add.
Definitely. Thank you, Richard. Like whatever Richard talked about, for all this to happen, what is required is a level playing field, what you call as a work environment. While coming to this venue, I watched a video on LinkedIn where Virat Kohli is playing with the young kids on the streets. And the aunties and uncles are not allowing the children to play cricket in the gully. So Virat Kohli conveys the message saying that, look, allow the people to play in their own area, in their own backyard. Create that level playing field, create space for people to operate will be the first and foremost enablement for empowering, for learning and everything else. So allow people to play the game as per the rules of the organization. So don't constrain people, because today most of us are building a lot of constraints. And we all talk about technology. End of the day, technology is a means to solve the problem. Use technology to the advantage to create a compelling environment for people to thrive in the environment. So that's what I would say. Now, what do you think is a better way of learning, Richard? Physical, digital, virtual? What do you think?
Yeah. No, that's a good question, and I'm sure everybody in the audience has their own opinion. But right now, I'm engaged with a company which very heavily works on technology-enabled learning. I think the right answer is a combination of physical and the digital, because one of the organizations I currently consult with is Byju's, and one of the products we do is for people who prepare for higher education exams. And we found that you can't do only online and you can't do only offline, because offline is not scalable, because you simply do not have the kind of teachers and the kind of quality you need. Online is not fully scalable because people do have doubts which you need to ask. So a combination of the physical and digital, in the sense that you have curated courses which are technology enabled, but you have a facility to either go to a class physically or have an online tutoring where a teacher is available live to interact with you, is something which works best. Now in the learning models itself, there is a lot of evolution happening due to technology, in the sense of getting better simulation done, allowing people to do hands-on stuff. Like for example, if you're solving a maths problem, the system can generate a problem designed for your level of competence in mathematics instead of creating a broad-based problem. So in the sense, I think the technology space in learning is just, to me, at the beginning. So our whole education system is going to get revolutionized with the advent of technology. But that doesn't take away the physical component, and I think all of us have a responsibility in the sense that we have to focus on the education systems, in the sense that encourage more people to teach. Teachers need to be paid better. You need people who are more qualified, more wanting to develop their subject further to get into the teaching profession. So some of those things we have to do, but I think a combination of physical and digital is where the maximum benefits will come.
Excellent. I would call it as a phygital way of learning, a combination of both. More importantly, what is required is to create a learning environment in the organization. Today, if I ask you a question, who owns my learnings? What would be your answer? Is it my manager, or is it me, or is it the organization? We have several times heard this saying that my company is not giving me a career. Is it a job of the company to give a career to the individual, or who owns one's career? So in my view, environment and the processes are the enablers, are the catalysts to create that urge to learn. So finally, as an organization, if you're able to create that sense of learning is one's own responsibility. Once you create that in the mind of the person, half the job is done. So then they will figure out different ways of learning, either through AI, through any several modes of learning platforms that are available today. It is important to create and that understanding of you own your career, and the organization and the environment is purely catalyst. So that will really help in creating a very highly engagement learning environment. So moving from learning to different elements of how does one upskill, reskill, leveraging technology. Any examples that you could share, Richard, from your own experience?
Yeah, again, going back to the tech industry, and I'm sure quite a few of you are from the tech industry. Over the last 3 years, what the IT services industry specifically saw is that the demand for skills and also how people progressed on their careers totally changed, right? For a long time, we were used to number of years spent in a particular role equal to your experience, and the longer you spent in a particular role, you moved up, became a manager and a senior manager and so on and so forth. Last 3 years, I think there was a complete disruption, in the sense skills came to the forefront because technology changed so fast that different skills were in demand from what were in demand over the previous 3 years. And then there are different competencies. You had Horizon 1 level skills with a competency level of 1 and so forth. So you could create a matrix and you had different requirements on that. So this entire focus on how skilling was viewed shifted to the individual, and individuals who are better skilled and performed better got paid better. And that was nothing like that as an incentive for people to focus on the skilling, right? So companies need not look at taking full responsibility on the skilling journey anymore. The skilling responsibility goes back to the individual. In fact, I had talked about this some time back, and I'd written something also, that each of you, imagine you have a passport as a person and you collect stamps as to various countries you go to. So each one of us in the future will have a skill passport, and we'll collect digital stamps as to how much we skill, and when we move organization, the passport moves with us, so the new organization knows what this person is skilled at and can deploy you effectively. So these are some of these ideas which I want to place before this audience. Of course, due to lack of time, we'll not go too much into it, but look at it, the future is shifting to skill-based rewards. People being hired for skills, people being deployed for skills, and each individual owning the skill set, which as they migrate companies, they carry their skills with them, and companies will look at enhancing the skill passport and also retaining the employee as far as possible.
Sure. Thank you. Few more points on this element. One is, if you look at the traditional way of learning, we used to buy books. I'm sure many of us have a big library at home. I'm sure those are actually gathering good dust there. So we moved from learning from a book to a reels today. The attention deficiency syndrome has picked up so much that we have lost the capacity to absorb things. But we cannot ignore the fact that this is the era that we're living in. In the industry today, we have multi-generational workforce working together, and you have to cater to the different needs of different learners. So you have to leverage technology. For example, in the medical field today, the big transformation that is happening, good or bad, the medical colleges are not finding enough bodies for operating surgery and demonstrating surgery for the students, medical students. You know what they're doing there? They're using virtual reality, augmented reality to demonstrate how the surgeries can be performed and how one can learn. Thousands of doctors are learning in different parts of the world. So technology is here to leverage in every possible field in terms of all aspects of learning. But idea is, as an organization, we have to figure out how do we cater to the vast demography of employees that we have, and how do you make everybody excited about learning newer things in life. So there are technologies which is available, and are there any predictive insights on what HR in the future from an employee engagement standpoint, leveraging technology, Richard?
Yeah, no, I think each one of us experiments on technology, and probably after this we should throw it open to the audience. The biggest example which we saw is the experience part. And I'll give you a simple example. So each of you has been a consumer. So suppose you use any of the sites, Flipkart or Amazon or anything. You get an unparalleled experience as a consumer, right? Everything works. The site knows what you need. The purchasing function works well. If something is not to your liking, you can return it easily. So this is, the consumer experience level has gone to a level which all of us get amazed many times as to, for example, if you have mentioned something in your house, your phone probably has picked it up and then sends you ads to that, that level of one. But in offices, we have not reached that level of experience which employees get. So I think the biggest change in HR which will happen over the next few years, and there are many companies working on this, so it's not like it's very far away. But of course, they are not scaled, they will scale. But I think the employee experience will come to the same level as the consumer experience which we are used to. And I think that will be the biggest shift in the HR space which we all need to get ready, is that when employees get this kind of experience, companies which can't give this experience will probably see attrition. So this is something which we get ready for, instead of the traditional way which we run HR, in the sense that we go into our system, everything is a secret, other people can't see, and those kind of things, to a different level of experience which you can give through a very mobile and very intuitive kind of way of working.
Super. I'll share one of my personal experience, what we are doing at Tally, leveraging technology for employee engagement. We have a technology platform which connects with the employee right from first day of joining, 15, 30, 60, 90, and 6 months, and continuous experiment and engagement with the employee. So what it does is, it gives me a sense of how the person is connected based on his emojis, his feelings, his connectedness, his engagement in the organization, how he or she is liking the work, engagement with the manager, and so on and so forth. I must tell you, because of this implementing this tool in the last 1-2 years, today our employee engagement score is at 87%. And it gives something called employee to connect. So it's like PTM, right? We go to colleges and schools for parent-teacher meeting. We have a similar thing replicated in the industry, saying that this tool gives us an insights, AI-driven tool, PTM, person to be met. Because the person's engagement level is dipping in certain areas, so on and so forth, it goes to the manager, it goes to the HR, and if it doesn't acted upon within the SLA, it goes escalated to the next level. So the idea is to use technology as an embodiment of creating powerful connects. So please, I'm sure all of you are using your own respective platforms for engagement, but such platforms, such technology tools, such AI platforms will really help in building a very cohesive, engaged workforce for the organization. My last question before we open up for questions, if you were to pick up one area or advise one suggestion to all the panel people here for them to take away and implement in the respective organization in terms of engagement, in terms of training and development, what would that one advice from you, Richard?
Totally contrary to what I earlier spoke, so sorry about this, but there is no substitute to that HR person who comes and speaks to you on a daily basis. So never forget that. I think HR still has a very large role to play with that, and no robo or no system can substitute for that. I see less and less people doing that, unfortunately, because all of us also have got comfortable with technology, but I think still that is what works best for engagement.
Yeah, sure. Super. My two last points. One is, today we have entered an era of Hubo world. It's not only humans in the workplace today. Humans and bots have arrived, and we must be comfortable with Hubo world. That's one. Second is, irrespective of what AI, generative AI and so on and so forth, what they are able to bring to the table, there is nothing to replace. I second completely with what Richard said. The need of the hour is not about either the AI versus HI. It's actually a combination of AI and HI. Artificial intelligence coupled with human intelligence to be able to create a very powerful employee experience. Once you have a great experience, automatically the environment becomes extremely positive, and you will be able to get rid of a lot of this toxicity in the environment, use technology to the betterment of human intelligence, and always rely on combination of HI and AI. On that note, I think we are well within our time actually to open up some questions. So another suggestion is what I thought I would share with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.